Preparing to live stream. Okay, we're here.
Awesome.
Oh, it's really fun because there's a delay, so I can see myself on the Zoom. Gosh, it's like a 10-second delay. Okay, hello, we're here. Welcome. I'm Dr. Alexis. Welcome to my page and welcome to the Expansion Principle Practitioner interviews. This is Sarah. Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
Thanks for being here with us today. Sarah is an EP practitioner, and she took EP training, I believe, in 2019.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we're going to talk today just about that process and your decision making with, taking training because I have found over the years so that we're celebrating our 7 years of EP training yesterday and today, though it's been 7 years. So we're moving into our 8th year. And what I've observed is people will often hear me talk about it and be drawn to it and know that they want to do it and yet don't really know how to move forward and how to register directly and like, okay, I'm going to do this. So which is why I love doing these practitioner interviews so that people can see like, yeah, that's just like me, right? All right, Sarah. So let's talk about I guess, do you want to talk about a little bit about your background first?
Sure. So what part of my background shall I?
Oh, whatever part you'd like. But I guess in terms of spiritual connection and or like with your practice, like with your work, because I think that that's something that's relevant because we're in the process of merging that.
Okay,
And what, yeah.
cool. So actually, I believe when I stumbled upon you via Facebook, I was just I had just finished getting my master's in social work.
Hmm.
Um, and I also had just finished my spiritual awakening slash my Saturn return, which I realized happened at the same time.
Yep.
Um, and so I was also in a relationship at that time for 4 years. Um, and I believe I um, was just, I don't know, I was just sort of in the place of like knowing I was going to like start doing therapy work and but also like very much connected to my spiritual side and had just had this pretty dark night of the soul, if you will, type of spiritual awakening,
Yeah.
and um, was needing, trying to remember. I know I had been following you for like a year before.
Mhm.
I was like, okay, I'm feeling drawn to learning EP and I want to do this. But I did take that like year to kind of like feel you out and your
Mhm.
whole vibe, and which is very projector of me, of course.
It's very
Um,
EP too. It's very common. We have people who follow for years and years and years. Yeah.
and so I believe you and I had like a private texting conversation
Mhm.
or whatever, and you were like, I think this will be really supportive to you. Um, you know, and so I kind of just was ready to jump in at that point, and I believe that's pretty much how I got here.
Mhm. Yeah, I do remember. I remember also like the protective element, like having that protections, and you were still learning. You were very new still, I think, and just coming out of, like you said, that dark night of the soul, which is very unique to more of the beginning of a spiritual awakening in terms of like understanding. This is more like being so naked and raw. And I feel like that's the part had just come out of. So it was very much aware of like, okay, so what do I need? Like, what are my beginning steps here of like, and so um being energetically and spiritually protected and being able to move forward was really important to you because I remember that was something that we definitely talked about.
Yes,
Um,
yes. Mm-hmm.
which is something that EP does help with, right? So I'm curious, it's been 6 years, I guess, then, since you have been attuned and you've been a practitioner. Um, what are the ways in which EP has supported you in your life?
Let's
Top
see.
three.
Top three.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Definitely emotionally and mentally. When certain things happen in my life and I have that emotional mental response, I feel like it definitely supports me in moving through it, maybe a little bit. I mean, what is time, but a little bit faster.
Yeah.
It kind of helps me get to whatever point I need to get to with all the things. Trying to think. It definitely makes me feel safer, like going back to the protection piece that I first wanted all those
Mm-hmm.
years ago. Um, it definitely has made me feel more safe. Um, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it supported my expansion, which is a big part of what EP does. So,
Right, that's the idea. And I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I think the piece around supporting your expansion, it really reiterates the point on like EP meets you where you are. And I think that's one of my favorite things about it. My top favorite things are that it's sovereign, which is
mhm,
what you talked about with that safety piece. Like, why does it help a person feel safe? It's because it's a sovereign modality. And what that means is that it's a modality that honors the individual and the idea and the fact and the truth that an individual's consciousness, an individual soul is responsible and has wherewithal and control and all of that of oneself. You have
mhm,
ownership of oneself and the incredible importance of that. And so EP supports that. And because it supports it, I feel like that's a big part of why you feel safe in it. Right.
mhm,
Because at any point, it's not overarching on you. You don't have to believe anything that we believe. This is really about energetic support and tuning into expansion as your natural state. And so that's that second point that you talked about, like, and it helps meet you where you are in that if expansion is our natural state, we're constantly moving and evolving. And I feel like it also helps us bridge the piece on why do we always seek more and really settle into that more. So it's not like this consumption, it's just this natural evolution. One of the things that we talked about today for you and that we've been working on is like you have this beautiful love of sharing, your spirituality and the way that you connect and like with cards and intuition and then you have a beautiful ability to speak and connect with people. And it's why you chose to get degrees in social work and to become a therapist, right? And like merging all of that, which is really beautiful. And EP's met you along the way throughout that transition.
mhm. Yeah, and I really like the piece with EP where it does meet you where you're at, because as a therapist, that's exactly what you're doing with clients is meeting them where they're at.
Mhm. It's one of the most important parts of healing. And
Mhm,
so for me, one of my tenets as a practitioner, being a physician for such a long time is we don't want to re-traumatize people. When people come to us, regardless of what kind of therapy, regardless of what kind of connection we are making with them and walking them through, you don't ever want to re-traumatize them. And there's a lot of modalities out there that the mechanism for getting to the help to get to the healing, there is sometimes a re-traumatization. So sometimes you have to talk about things that happen. Sometimes you have to express things. And if a person is still tapping into the timeline of when an event or a trauma occurred, it's going to be very activating to their nervous system and very activating to their whole being. And what's beautiful with the expansion principle is you don't actually have to do that. And so
mhm,
whether as a practitioner for yourself and becoming attuned to EP or when you're working with clients and patients, is that you're able to tune into where they are and what's coming to the surface rather than digging for what's next. It's like what's ready to come up. And so
Mhm.
it heals at the seed. So at the very beginning of an issue, yet you didn't have to go digging for that seed. You let it just come up and be healed in that way, which is pretty incredible. So I'm curious as well, do you have any EP stories? So any situations or experiences that you know that was like, oh wow, that was something where I really noticed.
Hmm.
So I think of with our, we have an alumni for everyone who's listening. We have our alumni Voxer. And so that is because I'm old school and still have Voxer. So Voxer is where it's a walkie-talkie app and it's where we all connect, the practitioners. And they go in there and they ask for support when they need help. When they have different things going on in their lives, they're going to go on a trip or they're not feeling well, or if they need emotional support, they go in and say, hey, this is going on. Can I please have EP? Can you send this to me? And that's something will you speak a little bit on that piece, on like being able to go in for support and some of the things you've seen in there, like how we've
Yeah.
experienced.
Well, last year in May, I went to Hawaii, and it had been a while since I last been on an airplane. And so I asked for some EP for my 2 flights to Hawaii, and it was really pretty smooth going and coming back. Um, and I've also asked for like pain in my body, if I've had any pain in my body. Um, so really, you can ask EP for anything. I think sometimes I forget it can be for the emotional piece too.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, it can be for anything.
And that's the interesting that thing that I've observed is like everyone is different when they come to EP, the way their thought process, like how you can accept energy work into your life. So for some people, it's the physical part. So we've had people who've had, I don't know if you remember, like with the kidney stones, like we've had quite a few people where we put them in to the chat and it's like, and they dissolve. Kidney stones are super easy with EP. Every single time I work with them, they just, and it's crazy. And then they go and get them scanned and like, there's just sand here. We don't know what happened. It's like, I know what happened. Um, but within, that support piece of it, that for some people their minds are that it's physical and other people it's always emotional and other people they think situational. So it's really interesting, even as practitioners, like you can forget, it's like, oh wait, it can help me with everything. So it's always fun to see the themes around whom brings what. So we have one person who'll come often like for support for her children. Like that's the main thing she comes to with support for. And this can be emotional or physical or anything. She comes with all of it, but it's the thing that she asks for support on. There's other people where it's, I know for you, it's very event specific. So it's, I'm
Mhm.
going to go somewhere, I'm going to do something, or I have a test, or I have a, health thing, or like whatever it is, it's very situational. I'm going to do a thing.
Mhm.
Which is a lot of fun to see. But that's something that we don't talk about too often is that this practitioner piece of it, the support that we have in the alumni. So when a person becomes a practitioner, you have access to the alumni support forever. So you come in and you have this community. So will you speak a little bit on the community aspect
Yeah,
of
so
it?
it's great to be able to be in the Voxer with others who've done EP. Um, you can. We also have our monthly Zoom calls where we reconnect and talk all things EP and how we've been
Mhm.
working with EP, or where we would like to work with it more. I call it my EP family.
Yeah,
So that's been really, really nice just to kind of get support and to, sometimes you just get really busy in the day to day and you forget that
absolutely.
you have this thing that can help you. And so it's nice to
Hmm.
have a space to be like, oh, yeah, I have this.
Yep, I love that. That's the idea, is to be there. And I think in the very beginning, the alumni support wasn't even something that we talked about that much because I hadn't even, it was just evolving in the very beginning. So that's one of the things that I love the most, that we're able to have this ongoing support piece to it. And one of the benefits to the EP practitioner training is that you get connection to the modules forever. Like, you have access to that for always. We don't take it away. There's not a certain period of time. What I really encourage people to do is to do the modules when we're doing them, when we're in the training the first time, but then go back to them whenever you want. And then often on the alumni calls, I'll refer people back to different modules because there's information that could be helpful. And we also have a manual now. This is going to be the first year we're going to be uploading it on there. And so I don't even think Sarah has it quite yet. We're going to be doing it for this new round. It'll be accessible there. So we took all the modules that we have and we made them into a manual, which it's nice to have like a tangible piece that tells you all the pieces of how to do something, when to do it, and all of that. And part of our alumni support and practitioner support is we're actually having a level 1 redo. And so we're offering that coming up too, which is a lot of fun. So we have continual support. This isn't like a one and done kind of thing where you only come into the training and you do it and then we wash our hands of you. It's that once you come in and you get trained, you're kind of in it with us all the time, and you'll likely make friends with each other. There's a lot of people that are EP practitioners and they met through being EP practitioners and have gone on to become friends or have different kinds of relationships with each other. Well, Sarah, thank you so much. Is there anything in closing, one last thing that you'd like to say, maybe to people who are thinking about becoming practitioners and taking the training, or perhaps don't think they're practitioners but are interested in the training, right?
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I decided to do it, like I had my reasons, of course, but I wasn't even necessarily fully aware of like what energy healing even meant. And I just knew that I was like really drawn to EP. Had been previously like into the idea of learning some form of energy healing. And I wanted to wait for something that seemed really kind of special and unique. And then I stumbled upon Alexis and EP, and that was wonderful. Um, so so yeah, I think for someone who's not sure, EP is great just for you. Like just working with it for yourself is amazing. I think from working with it on your own and with yourself, it can expand to you wanting to be able to like send the energy to other people.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely it's supportive to yourself, and it's been very supportive for me. So
I love that so much. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. I love you and I appreciate you so much.
you're welcome.
And for everyone who's watching, we are in open enrollment period for EP right now. So if you have interest in learning more, we're having info sessions on Saturdays. You can find out information by either emailing me at expansionprinciple@gmail.com or on Facebook, or all the places. Find us in all the places. The website is expansionprincipleinstitute.com, and we have the information around how to join, and there's panfuls and payment plans and lots of fun ways to make this happen and to move forward into your expansion. I love you. You're amazing. If we figure out how to say goodbye to you, that would be awesome too. Oh, that's always fun. Tech is always fun. There we go. Bye.